Hi everyone, my name is Charlotte and this is part of the series I called Astrology in Motion. Today I want to talk about the big three, which is the sun, the moon and the ascending sign in our chart. It was because I had a client a few days ago and she was saying, I'm a sun Gemini. And everybody thinks I should be chatty, outgoing, very communicative, very curious, asking questions. And I feel, that's not me at all. I'm very shy. I like to observe people a little bit before I speak and so on and so on. And by looking in her chart, yes, she turned out to be Scorpio on her ascending sign. So one thing is how our sun sign is, and sometimes we don't feel that we are our sun sign, or we don't relate to how the traditional our sun sign is traditionally described. And it's really important to look at the whole picture. Of course, it's important to look at the whole chart, but in this case, I like to just focus on the three big ones, because I will still say a lot about who we are and the stars in our chart. And because it's not just the sun, we also have the moon and we have the ascending sign that really blend together and create this special, unique dynamic that is you. And of course, we also need to look at in a real chart analysis, individual chart analysis, we will look at, of course, where's the sun, in which house, which other planets is it talking to, and the same with the moon, and of course the ascending sign, we look at the ruler, where is the ruler of the ascending sign, which is also called your chart ruler. But today I just want to focus on these three, because a few people say to me, I don't know, when I think about my sun sign, I just don't feel that's really all there is to me. And of course, there is so much more. So if we think about the three big ones, the sun, the moon, and your ascending sign as, the big components, the drivers, the stars of your chart. And they all have different needs and they have different functions. So if we begin with the sun sign, the sun sign is more the core identity, who you are. Just like you rise every morning, with a purpose. So your sun sign has a purpose. And the way it works is we attract certain experiences according to our sun sign throughout our lives. And these are meant to be developing us more, becoming more aware, becoming our sun sign. Let's say like an Aries. Aries is a fire sign, it's the first sign in the zodiac, it's ruled by Mars, and it's a cardinal sign. So the function or the purpose of the Aries in this lifetime is, the core purpose is to be brave, to be courageous, to go first, to be first, to win something, to be courageous, to take lead. And, in order to develop those qualities, we attract or we gravitate towards certain experiences in life that is helping us develop those qualities. So what might that look like? That might look like, for example, conflict, or you have somebody to compete against, to bring the best out of yourself. And it can be people have different views than you and they challenge you and you have to really fight for what you believe, and this will bring out that fire energy in you and this belief in yourself and this push to push back and stand up for yourself. So each of the sun signs, they have a purpose. There is a drive, there's an inner drive of what they need to become in this lifetime. And of course, we grow up and we have different circumstances, we have different families with different cultures, different countries, whatever it might be, we might not have the most optimal conditions to develop our sun signs. So, but what we do, which is very clever, and if you look at, your family, friends, people everybody seek out different experiences in order to become their sun sign throughout their life. And as we're younger, we're not fully aware of who we are. We look to other people, we copy a little bit our environment, at first our families, then when we start school, we try to mimic things, we want to fit in, we want to belong, and only later on it become more and more apparent that we might choose different than our peers, we might go different direction than our families, and it's all coming from this inner solar drive within us towards becoming what we're supposed to become. And each of the signs have this whole set of dynamics and energies, and they lead with a modality, they lead with cardinal, they lead with fixed or mutable, which is a quality of how you go about life. If you are a self-starter, if you're somebody who's good at withstanding things, to hold on to be loyal and committed, or if you're somebody who are very open to trying new directions, that's mutable energy. What I described before was more fixed, the more stable, the one that keep the consistency. And the cardinal signs are more the drivers, the leaders, the starters. So each of the 12 sun signs, they have a modality that is driving them underneath, and they have a planet, or sometimes two if we include the modern rulers. So there's a whole lot of things going on. And what the sun sign needs to do in our lifetime is to develop their purpose, the purpose of that particular sun sign. Let's say you are Libra, which is the opposite side of Aries. So what is the purpose of Libra? So Libra happened to also be a cardinal sign, and it is ruled by Venus, so very, very different than being ruled by Mars. So here is a sun sign that needs to find equality, to need to find harmony. It's symbolized by the balance, what has, if there should be place for you, there should be a space for me. They're thinking a lot about the other person. It's a Venus rule sign, so it's a lot about social graces, friendship. It's about fairness. It's about everybody should be heard and everybody should have a say. So that also comes across because it's an air sign. So there's openness to different opinions and so on and so on. Whereas sometimes Aries is leading with Mars and is a little bit, I know this is a way forward, and they can be a little bit of a bulldozing qualities about that. I mean, if it's unchecked, every sign has a shadow side, and every sign has, the highest form of what they can become. So the Libra needs to find balance, and they need to find harmony. So sometimes they seek out conflict so that they can balance and harmonize it out. And if you grow up in a family where there are conflict and, disharmony, and maybe there might be somebody who's always pushing to have their way, the Libra will develop their qualities of diplomacy and, negotiation skills. So, which is all part of becoming. And so again, each sign have their own purposes and their own doings. So if you have a Capricorn sun, you're not so much about it's not the same as what the Aries and the Libra sun sign need to do. Here we have a sign which is also cardinal. The ruler is Saturn. It's an earth sign. So, what it needs to do, it needs to build build something that is sustainable, something long-term, something that gives a purpose of having a long-term goal, and to do well and to get recognition in life for the achievements. So the core of the Capricorn sun will want to find areas in life where they can express exactly that. They will have some ambition, some big goals in life. They know what they want. They want recognition from others for their achievements and so on. So they might find themselves in a situation where they push themselves, and they need to take some leadership or some ownership of a situation. They don't wait for other people to take care of them. If they want something in life, they believe that I'm going to do it myself. I'm a self-made person. There's a lot of independence with the Capricorn sun, and all of these qualities are just, these are reflected in the sun sign and the rulers, whether it's cardinal, fixed, or mutable. And of course, if we have to look deeper into an individual chart, we will look at also the house and of course the planets that your sun is speaking to in forms of aspects. But it's worth thinking about, it's worth recognizing that your sun is, you're born your sun sign, but your whole life you're becoming more and more of that. And the thing is, it's almost like an onion, because we learn a lot of things as we grow up. But as we develop and we mature, we start to peel off these layers to get into the core of what is actually our sun sign. And so let's talk about the moon. The moon is a very different quality. It's our emotions. It's how, where our ancestors come from. Is our roots, our family roots, and further back as well, in the family tree. It's more like where the sun is more the conscious self, the ego, the ID. The moon quality is more the subconscious, the intuitive, the creative, emotional body. And the one that sometimes leads us with a gut feeling or like a hunch or just like a knowing, an inner knowing. So it's really worth paying attention to your moon as well, because your moon will sometimes be that little guard dog that goes in front and just check things out for you, just in form of like intuition and emotional. Is it safe? Is it not safe? Is this something I need to try, or should I stay in my lane? Whatever it is, the moon sign is also having a huge inner drive to have the needs met. And the moon sign is all about how we feel safe, in what setting we feel safe. So if you're a little Gemini moon and you grow up, you need to speak, you need to be heard, you need to communicate, and that's your needs. That's part of your core needs, and this is how you feel safe. If you're able to express yourself, and if you have people listening and validating what you're saying, and if you're curious and you want to ask questions, and you have your caretakers who are invested in making you feel comfortable and valued and let you be curious and all that. And if you are a Virgo moon, you really thrive and you feel secure if there's order around you, things are neat and tidy and not chaotic. And there need to be some routine, and they just throw you off a bit if things are erratic and unpredictable and all these things. So the way you feel safe as a moon Virgo is that things are, somewhat predictable. It gives safety, it gives you security. As opposed to if you're Sagittarius moon, you definitely do not need all the routines. You just want everything different and fresh and new. This is fire moon as opposed to the earth moon. So the fire moon want to go out in the world and explore and want to travel. And sometimes it's interesting when you see families where there, for example, is a predominance of earth. And then you have one member is a water or fire or air, and you can see how they can struggle to fit in with the rest of the family. And I have clients say to me, I feel like I'm just this alien in my family. I really don't fit in at all. And this is a real challenge. And this is where we challenge and we can feel that we are not valued, we're not being cared for in the way we want to. And as we grow up, we go and seek that, being taken care of or being met with in a moon sign, with friends, with family, even in work situations. So in an ideal world, we all grew up and had our moon sign feel happy and taken care of and safe and secure in whatever way that our moon needs to express itself. But of course, it's not always the case. And in fact, we bring a lot of conditioning from the moon, because as we grow up, of course, as psychologists have found out, is that we make assumption based on our moon sign. when we grow up, which is not fully conscious. So let's say we're not allowed to speak up or be excited about something. Think about the little Leo moon, for example, who like to have all the attention and like to perform and be the center of attention and be funny and entertaining. But you grow up in a family where this is like, calm down. We don't want you shouldn't take all the attention on yourself. This is very egoistical, whatever it is. And you make assumption that you're not good enough or there's something wrong with you. All these kind of things that we're bringing with us in relationship, unless we, of course, work on ourselves and become aware. My moon sign needs this, in order for my moon sign to be happy, I need to be truly accepting and embracing those qualities, and don't be shy about them. Don't apologize for them, but go out in the world and express them openly and with vulnerability. And this is what we all try to do as we mature. We try and make our moon sign and our sun sign somehow work together. Sometimes it's not easy because let's say you have Capricorn sun sign and you are about building things, creating things, long-term, investing in yourself, in your own development, reaching your goals and so on. And you have like a Pisces moon, and the Pisces moon just is concerned about, let me be creative, let me go with the flow. I don't want structure. I just want to go where I feel to go. I'm into arts and so on. So you sometimes feel like, my God, what's going on with me? I am completely, full of contradictions. And we all are. We all are full of contradiction. It's really hard to draw it all in because there should be room for all of it. But then use everything to your advantage. So if you are this Capricorn sun and you are very much invested in your future and building, a good reputation, good knowledge for yourself and getting respect in the world, which is very, Capricorn concerned qualities, but you have that Pisces moon, you should let it be involved, let it inspire you, let it give that, because it's a water sign, so let that loosen up the earth a little bit and let it guide you. Don't be so rigid, take time to just be, go and watch a concert, go and see a ballet, listen to music, be in nature. We need to nurture both things because otherwise we get completely out of balance. And so it's really important to know the three big ones. So let's just talk about the ascending sign as it's very important as well as a quality. It's of course the sign that was rising in horizon when we were born. So I always think about it like you get this imprint of that energy, of that sign, of the modality, of the element. And the ruler of that ascending sign is of course your chart ruler. So it's super important. And we could have a whole chapter just on that. But in any case, the ascending sign is your physique, how you look, how you come across, is your physical self that you go out and introduce to the world. And so you might have a whole lot going on with your sun sign, with your moon sign, but people might first see your ascending sign. And in fact, your ascending sign is how you go about things. Is how you go about getting what you want for your sun sign and your moon sign. So let's say you are let's go with the example with the Capricorn sun and the Pisces moon. So let's say you have a Gemini as the ascending sign. So let's say that you have a big project for your sun sign. You're an entrepreneur, you want to start your startup, but you need funding and so on. So use your ascending sign, which is about communication, networking, and so on, and you use that to get, partners or like business partners or maybe people to invest in you, find funding, and so on and so on. All of them work together, but all of them have coming from a place of what they need to do in life. And so your ascending sign, it also has this dynamic of what it needs to express. So, and it's just how you go about it. So your core is your sun, but how you go about it will be very much your ascending sign. And you know, this is how we with the first impression is always interesting, because people can be so off. You see somebody coming across, like the first example I had with the Gemini sun and the Scorpio ascending sign. So you have somebody here who is basically curious about life and need communication and need connection, need to learn and need to have exchange of ideas, but it's not so easy because they have this Scorpio sun, which is Scorpio ascending sign, which means that they are just a little bit more selective when they speak. They need to observe. They're a bit shy. They feel more vulnerable with expressing who they are, so they take a little bit more time. So you have to balance those two things out, because the Scorpio ascending sign would not be super comfortable going straight in and maybe shaking hands with strangers. They need a little time to warm up before they express more their sun quality. But so we need to honor all parts of us. And whenever we feel out of balance, it's very often because there's something within us, very strong within us, a drive, a quality, a need that we're not paying attention to. Or we try to fit in with other people's expectations of us. We all grow up wanting to belong, wanting to be loved and appreciated and seen for who we are. And sometimes it takes a long time before we get to the point of actually accepting all the complexity that we have, the contradictions, let's say we have Aquarius sun, we have a Cancer moon. So if you are Aquarius, it's an air sign. It's fixed, and sometimes Aquarius, well, they're known for being independent. They have their own ideas and they don't mind going against the grain. They actually thrive on doing something original and different and not be put in a box. That's the last thing they want. So there is this independence, and as well in relationship, it's like I'm doing me and you're doing you, and there should be room for both of us. We don't need to agree on everything, and have this where we almost meld into one. But then you have a Cancer moon, and this is exactly what the Cancer moon needs. The Cancer moon needs to feel safe and secure in the well-known, in the family, in this emotional realm. We take care of each other. We are a unity and all that. So that is very contradictory. So what might happen, of course, later, these things play out typically in relationships. So what happened typically is that in one way you look for relationships to have your moon nurtured, to have all that wonderful sort of emotional connection and feeling safe and being a bit of a homebody. But at the same time, your Aquarius sun want to be independent, and I want to go and see my friends. I want to go and follow my passion in this and this area, and I don't want to be home all the time. And you give different signals, and you don't understand why am I so full of contradictions. So the thing is, all of us need to find a balance where we take care of the sun sign's purpose in life, and at the same time we need to nurture the moon needs as well. So I guess in this instance, in this example, there needs to be room for both, that you take time to be with a family, have that emotional connection, and you make sure there's a time to do your own thing, see your friends, do your own interest, and so on. So both parts of you are happy and taken care of in terms of their need, because for sure they will be felt if you, for example, focus on the moon Cancer, and don't take into account the sun Aquarius and all the independence you need as a sun Aquarius. You might end up being very frustrated at one point, just walking away from relationship because I had enough. Now I need to live out the other side. So you live out the independence, say, oh phew, nobody's telling me what to do now, until that little moon Cancer is saying, hey, wait a minute, I'm lacking something here. I need more connection. So I invite you all to take a look at your own three big ones, the sun, the moon, and the ascending sign, and see where are you? What are the needs? What are the drives behind it? What is the purpose of your sun sign? What are the needs of your moon sign? And how are you going about getting that with your ascending sign? And it's also interesting, of course, always to look at the elements, if there's a lot of fire, if there's a lot of water, or if it's well balanced, because these will all say something about how easy it is for you to express and integrate the different qualities in you. So there's only one unique you, and of course, as always, there's heaps of other aspects to take into account, like the house position and the aspects and where it's in place in the chart and what else is going on with the aspects. So, but just to make it simple, it can still give you a lot of information about the core of yourself, and see if you are nurturing all parts and if you are activating all parts. And sometimes there can be hidden qualities and talents that you're not using. So it's really worth it to have a good look at these three big ones in your chart and see if they all have a voice, if they all have an expression, and if not, find out how to integrate and make them all be the stars of your chart. So thank you for listening, and feel free to make comments about your own three big ones and how you balance them out, how you integrate, and how you go about making sure all of them are happy. So see you next time.